We can, if IT hasn't started recording, they can do that. And I'll take roll real quick. Mr. Shell.
Present.
Mr. Smith.
Present.
Mr. Walker.
Sorry, here.
Mr. Dine.
Here.
Ms. Gardner.
Here.
Mr. Schrader.
Here.
Monica.
Here.
Mr. Johnston.
Here.
I'm here as well. We got a full quorum. Okay. We'll call to order the Advisory Plan Commission for Monday, February 8th. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from January 11th.
So moved.
Motion by Monica and second by
Second.
Second. Okay, Mr. Walker. So motion by Monica and second by Mr. Walker. All those in favor of that motion? Mr. Shell?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Dine?
Yes.
Miss Gardner?
Yes.
Mr. Schrader?
Yes.
Monica?
Aye.
Mr. Johnston?
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Okay. Any special continuances or requests from the floor? Seeing none. Any old business? Old business from the floor. Seeing none on both of those. Under new business, we have two dockets this evening. PC 2020-066. This is a public hearing. It'll be 15 minutes for the petitioner and 15 for the remonstrator, 5-minute rebuttal for each. Before I have anybody sworn in, Ms. Kuntz, would you explain to the audience our duties on primary plats?
Sure. Primary plats are a ministerial act under the statute. If the petitioner meets the requirements of the control divisions of our Unified Development Ordinance, it is to be approved. If you do not think it needs to be approved, you have to specifically set forth those provisions of our ordinance with which it does not comply. And that will be then reduced to a findings of fact determination for signature at the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. All right, any of those that are going to speak to this petition or against, we need to have you sworn in at this time. We'll swear you in one at a time. And Lori, if you could do that. Who's going to be speaking on the first petition on the Worsville Commerce Center Phase 2?
First petition will be Justin Olashik with American Structure Point.
Okay, and we'll get you sworn in.
Justin, do you swear under penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Is there anybody else going to speak to this? Okay. Go ahead, state your name and address for the record, please.
So name Justin Olashik, and I am with American Structure Point. Our company address is 9025 River Road in Indianapolis. I am representing the owner, Skinnell Properties and GLA Properties on this primary plat document. Presenting the projects, we are going for a primary plat of approximately 95 acres at the intersection of Collins Road and Allen Road. It's the bulk of the industrial development that's gone on in that area. With this primary plats, again, we're setting up for a potential of 5 additional industrial lots down there, up to 5. With this plat, we will be sectioning off approximately 62.54 acres as lot 1 on the plat, and that will make way for a future for the first phase of development in this parcel block. The remainder of the property will be designated as Block A and will be subdivided as additional developments are planned for this property. On the plat, we've shown The proposed detention ponds, which was reviewed and approved by Commonwealth engineers as well as staff planning and engineering departments. Over top of that, we'll be providing the typical Greenwood drainage easement over top of the future detention pond, which will be fully designed with subsequent site commercial development plan applications. In addition, we will be providing a no access easements along the north side adjacent to Allen Road. This will not be a continuous no access easement, as we will have pedestrian vehicle drive cuts onto Allen Road. But the intent is, working with staff, was to help kind of identify the locations that were most desirable for these pedestrian vehicle drive cuts onto Allen Road. And I guess with that, that kind of is a high level of what we're trying to do with this Worsville Commerce Center Phase 2. And I'd be open to any questions that the board may have.
Anybody to speak against this? Anybody at all? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and open it up for questions. I assume you guys have the technical review committee notes in front of you, so if you've got any questions, I do not have any. Any questions?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Brian Walker.
Uh-huh.
Was there, maybe it's in the package and maybe I just didn't see it, but item number 1 on this list of 14 different things was the city would get copies of the right-of-way dedication along the south side of Allen Road. Is that what you were referring to on the road cuts for passenger cars or just regular vehicles?
No, those are actually on our Alta survey. There had been previous right-of-way dedications that have been granted to the city of Greenwood, along with instrument numbers for when those were recorded in Johnson County. And Paul Pioni had requested a copy of those previous right-of-way dedications for his records. And we had gotten those to him last week. The no access easement that's referenced, that is actually on our primary plat document. And that's what we will be providing with our secondary plat of this property. So those would be new easements that are being dedicated with this Worsville primary, with this Worsville plat.
And then that would get to like your item number 2 with acceleration and deceleration lanes and all the things needed for the project, correct?
Correct. A lot of these other items that Paul has mentioned, these are items that are detailed out with the commercial site plan application. And it's gets into more of the specifics of the construction documents for the property, where this primary plat is really just the phase 1 of setting this property up to be developed as these industrial properties. So a lot of these other comments will be addressed. We've noted them and they'll be addressed with our future construction document submissions to staff.
Okay. And okay, that would get into the drainage and the sewer and all that stuff then. Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I thanks for clarification. Appreciate it.
Yes, again, I was questioning why 8, 10, and 11 were questions rather than statements, because you just said they're going to be addressed on the other thing.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct. A lot of these other are more detailed design elements that we'll be coordinating with Greenwood Sanitary on once the full design is completed. Again, these primary plats, we've kind of set it up as the high level concept. With the construction documents is when we get into the nitty gritty details and get it ready to be built.
All right.
Fair enough.
Any other questions? Anyone? want to make sure I give plenty of time because I got in trouble this time. Okay, if there's no more questions, there's a motion that's been prepared.
I move to approve the proposed primary plat submitted by American Structure Point on behalf of GLA Properties LLC docket PC 2020-066, subject to the 6 conditions of the Technical Review Committee, because the primary plat with conditions complies with the standards of the subdivision's Division of Unified Development Ordinance, and to direct the president to sign in the commission's behalf the notice of determination and written findings regarding the approval of the primary plat as prepared by the planning director.
Second.
That Mr. Smith?
Yes.
And please pardon my interruption, but did you formally close the public hearing, Mr. Polar?
I did.
Okay, because I didn't hear that, so I wanted to make sure I had that in the minutes.
Yeah, I did.
He did, he gave a lot of extra time too.
He gave extra time. I'm like, okay, did he say then public hearing's closed? I
No,
didn't catch that.
Yeah, I did close that before we started asking questions. So,
Okay.
all right, motion by Mr. Walker and second by Mr. Smith. All those in favor, I'll take roll. Mr. Shell,
Yes.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Walker,
Yes.
Mr. Dine,
Yes.
Ms. Gardner,
Yes.
Mr. Schrader,
Yes.
Monica,
Aye.
Mr. Johnston,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Motion carries 9-0. Good luck.
All righty, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Second order of business is PC 2020-067, Southport Building C primary plat. Again, this is a public hearing, 15 minutes petitioner, 15 remonstrator. And who's going to be speaking to this petition, please?
Good evening. This is Tyler Comstock, also with American Structure Point.
All right, Mr. Comstock, let's get you sworn in.
Okay.
Do you swear under penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
Anybody else to be speaking to this or against this? Okay, Mr. Comstock, go ahead and state your name and address for the record, and then you can begin.
Yeah, this is Tyler Comstock with American Structure Point, 9025 River Road, Suite 200, Indianapolis, Indiana. This is actually a replat of a project or of a primary plat that we have already had approval for. This is for South Point Business Park Phase 3, which is just south of the full South Point Industrial Park there off of Graham Road and I-65. As I mentioned, this project has previously been approved. It is actually already under construction, well, pretty far under construction actually. This replat is mainly for some additional trailer parking on the east side of our lot. The client who I am representing is Shear GW4 LLC or Peterson Development Group also. And what it is they purchased some extra property to the from the parcels to the east of us, owned by L&E Real Estate right there off of Graham Road. And a replat was needed because of this additional property that is going to be added to our proposed lot. I believe it's an acre or two of land that we actually purchased from them. So because of the new property lines and the change of the entire parcel acreage, this is a replat of that entire development. So fairly simple. Because of the added pavement areas for the added trailer parking, we did rerun all of our drainage calculations to make sure the pond works, the storm sewer that's there works, same thing with water quality and all that. So we received approval by outside consultants as well as working with the City of Greenwood staff. So that's basically it, just adding some acreage to the east side for some parking. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else to speak for this? Anybody to speak against it? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Open up to questions to the commission. I have none.
Again, there's additional paper with a bunch of questions and on it is to be addressed. They're dated like 12/11/20. Have those been addressed by the engineering committee or department?
Yeah, very similar. Yeah, very similar to the last project. Quite a few of those comments are very detail oriented that are taking place and kind of digging into the nitty gritty under the design documents rather than the primary plat stage. But like I said, we've gotten into the drainage calcs and everything, so everything seems to work out fine. So we'll continue to have that coordination.
You will note on your proposed motion, it says subject to 5 conditions because there are 5 numbers included on the report of the technical review committee. 5 appears to be blank. I went ahead and put 5 in your proposed motion in case at the hearing somebody explained there was a 5th one. It may in fact just be 4. Mr. Davis, do you know, is it really just 4 conditions from the technical review committee, even though there's 5 enumerated there?
Sorry, my computer dropped out there for a second. Which one are we debating?
On the technical review committee report for this docket 2020-067, they've got recommending there's 5 numbers, but only 4 actually have any kind of conditions. Is it supposed to be 5 conditions and 1 wasn't typed in, or is it really just 4 conditions?
It's just 4 conditions.
Okay, so on that motion, make sure whoever does it, make sure that if you are inclined, make it subject to the 4 conditions of the technical review committee.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Is there any other questions, comments? Going once, twice? Okay. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. President, I move to approve the proposed primary replat submitted by American Structure Point on behalf of Shear GW4 LLC, docket PC 2020-067, subject to the 4 conditions of the Technical Review Committee, because the primary plat with such conditions complies with the standards in the subdivision division of the Unified Development Ordinance, and to direct the president to sign in the commission's behalf the notice of determination and written findings regarding the approval of the primary plat as prepared by the planning director.
Second.
Okay, motion by Mr. Shell and second by Monica. All those in favor. Mr. Shell.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Dine.
Yes.
Ms. Gardner.
Yes.
Mr. Schrader.
Yes.
Monica.
Aye.
Mr. Johnston.
Yes.
I'm a yes as well. Motion carries 9-0. Good luck.
Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, any new business from the floor? Seeing none. Any announcements?
Only one, and that is we do not have any business filed for the second meeting of this month. So that one will likely be canceled.
Okay, and I assume there's no overlay committee meetings coming up either. We haven't heard from you on that.
No, we do not have any scheduled at this time.
Okay, I do have a question for Ms. Barrett. Are you there?
I am.
There was on these 2 motions, there is a document that I have to sign, and maybe it's you or Mr. Davis. I am going to be in, I can swing by the office right at 8 o'clock in the morning. If you could have those 2, I don't know if those are ready already, Mr. Davis, but if they're not, then I can hit them one of the other days. But I just thought of, while we're on here, if those are ready, I can swing by at 8 o'clock in the morning and get those signed.
Those aren't ready. We'll have to repair those tomorrow based on tonight's meeting.
Okay. Is there any, and maybe Ms. Coons can answer this, is there any way those can be emailed and signed, or do they have to be a hard copy?
You would need a wet signature on those for the record.
Okay, that's fine. Just checking.
Could we email them and then he dropped them off, Ms. Coons?
Well, sure. I said he just has to have a wet signature, so you would have to have that back, originally signed. However he does it is whatever is convenient.
Yeah.
Either way, it's usually Lori left them right at the front desk, and the person sitting at the front desk had them right there. I signed them, and so either way, it's fine.
I'll
Okay,
also
we'll work it
bring,
out. I'm there all the time. We'll be fine.
Yeah, just let me know. And then, so with that, I have nothing else. Any other announcements, comments?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent, Kurt.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Thanks. Good night.